Welcome back to Steffy Fans channel. Today we will learn about the issue that has been sending shockwaves through the Forrester family and threatening to tear apart the fragile peace that has barely been established in Los Angeles. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 promise a day filled with emotional confrontations, desperate pleas, and dangerous romantic entanglements that could lead to catastrophic consequences for everyone involved. Steffy's escalating panic. Steffy Forrester Finnegan finds herself spiraling into a state of absolute panic that rivals some of her most intense emotional moments from years past. Her anxiety has reached fever pitch as she watches her mother, Taylor Hayes, potentially walking into what Steffy perceives as a deadly trap. The mere thought of Taylor becoming romantically entangled with Deacon Sharp has triggered every protective instinct in Steffy's being, and she cannot shake the terrifying images of what might happen if Sheila discovers this forbidden attraction. Steffy's mind races with worst-case scenarios, each more horrifying than the last. She knows Sheila's history better than most, having been one of her victims in the past. The memory of Sheila's violence, her unpredictability, and her obsessive need for revenge haunts Steffy every waking moment. The idea that her mother could become Sheila's next target fills her with a dread so profound that she can barely function. Steffy has always been a fighter, someone who faces problems head-on, but this situation feels different. This time, she is not just fighting for herself, but for her mother's very survival. The failed appeal to hope. In a move that demonstrates just how desperate Steffy has become, she does something almost unthinkable. She reaches out to Hope looking for help. The relationship between Steffy and Hope has always been complicated, marked by years of rivalry, jealousy, and competition. Yet here is Steffy, setting aside her pride and her past grievances, practically begging Hope to intervene in this dangerous situation. Steffy's plan seems simple enough on the surface. She believes that if Hope would just have a heart-to-heart conversation with her, Deacon would listen to his beloved daughter and put an end to whatever is developing between him and Taylor. Steffy appeals to Hope with genuine emotion, explaining the gravity of the situation and the very real danger that Taylor faces. She emphasizes that this is not about old rivalries or family drama, but about life and death. Surely, Steffy reasons Hope would not to see anyone get hurt, especially not at the hands of someone as unstable and dangerous as Sheila. Steffy even reminds Hope of all the pain and suffering that Sheila has caused over the years, hoping to trigger some sense of urgency in Hope's mind. However, Steffy's desperate plea falls on deaf ears, much to her shock and dismay. Hope's response is not what Steffy expected at all. In fact, Hope reveals that she is completely supportive of a potential relationship between Taylor and Deacon. Hope's reasoning is straightforward, but self-serving. Anything that gets her father away from Sheila is a positive development in her eyes. Hope has watched her father's marriage to Sheila with a mixture of horror and disbelief, never truly accepting that the union could be genuine or healthy. Hope and Deacon have been sharing private conversations about the situation, and far from being concerned, they have been positively giddy about the possibility of Taylor and Deacon becoming a couple. Hope sees Taylor as a vast improvement over Sheila, someone who is sophisticated, educated, and genuinely caring. In Hope's mind, her father deserves better than a life with a reformed criminal, and Taylor represents everything that Sheila is not. The fact that this potential relationship might destroy Sheila's marriage is actually a bonus from Hope's perspective. Steffy confronts her mother again. Realizing that Hope will not be an ally in this battle, Steffy takes matters into her own hands once more. She pays another visit to her mother, and this time the conversation is even more intense and emotional than their previous discussions. Steffy walks into Taylor's space with a sense of urgency that cannot be ignored. Her eyes are filled with tears, her voice trembles with emotion, and every word she speaks comes from a place of genuine terror for her mother's safety. Steffy begs Taylor to listen to reason, to see the situation clearly for what it truly is. She paints a vivid picture of what could happen if Sheila discovers that her husband is developing feelings for another woman, especially a woman like Taylor who represents everything Sheila has always wanted to be but never could. Steffy reminds her mother of Sheila's past crimes, her history of violence, and her tendency to become absolutely unhinged when she feels betrayed or threatened. The conversation becomes increasingly heated as Steffy asks the question that has been haunting her. Does Taylor actually want to get herself killed by having an affair with a madwoman's husband? The words hang in the air, stark and brutal, but they represent Steffy's deepest fear. She cannot understand how her mother, who is usually so wise and careful, could be walking into such obvious danger with her eyes wide open. Taylor, for her part, tries to defend herself and reassure her daughter. She insists repeatedly that nothing will happen between her and Deacon, that their relationship is purely professional based on her role as his therapist. Taylor maintains that she has the situation completely under control, and that Steffy is overreacting to what is essentially a non-issue. She promises that she knows where the boundaries are and that she would never cross them. But even as Taylor makes these promises, Steffy can see the doubt in her mother's eyes. There is a hesitation in Taylor's voice, a slight wavering in her conviction that tells Steffy everything she needs to know. Taylor might genuinely believe what she is saying in this moment, but can she really make that promise and keep it? Steffy knows her mother well enough to recognize when Taylor is trying to convince herself of something as much as she is trying to convince others. The growing connection. Despite Steffy's warnings and pleas, it appears that she may already be too late to prevent what she sees as an inevitable disaster. The bond between Deacon and Taylor has been growing stronger with each passing day, and the attraction between them has become increasingly difficult to ignore or deny. What might have started as innocent therapy sessions has evolved into something much deeper and more complicated. Deacon and Taylor find themselves drawn to each other in ways that surprise them both. They share long conversations that extend far beyond the boundaries of a typical doctor-patient relationship. They laugh together, they share personal stories, and they find comfort in each other's presence. There is an undeniable chemistry between them, a spark that ignites whenever they are in the same room. They can feel it in the way their eyes meet, in the accidental touches that linger just a moment too long, in the way the air seems to change when they are alone together. Taylor does her absolute best to maintain professional boundaries and to tell Deacon that nothing can happen between them. She reminds him of all the reasons why pursuing this attraction would be wrong, dangerous, and potentially catastrophic. She mentions his marriage to Sheila, the ethical issues of a therapist becoming involved with a patient, and the danger they would both face if Sheila were to discover their feelings. But Deacon is nothing if not persistent and persuasive. He listens to Taylor's objections, but he counters each one with his own arguments. He insists that what they feel is real and rare, something that does not come along often in life. He suggests that they owe it to themselves to explore these feelings to see where this connection might lead. Deacon can be incredibly charming when he wants to be, and he is pulling out all the stops to convince Taylor to give in to what they both want. Sheila's dangerous ignorance. What makes this situation even more perilous is that Sheila remains completely oblivious to what is unfolding right under her nose. In one of the great ironies of this storyline, Sheila actually believes that Taylor has been instrumental in saving her marriage to Deacon. She has noticed that Deacon has seemed more content, more at peace lately, and she attributes this change to the therapy sessions with Taylor. Sheila has even expressed gratitude to Taylor, viewing her as an ally rather than a threat. The reality, however, could not be more different. While Sheila thinks Taylor is strengthening her marriage, Deacon is actually on his way to destroying it from within. Every therapy session, every private conversation, every moment of connection between Deacon and Taylor is another step toward the end of Deacon and Sheila's relationship. The betrayal is happening slowly but surely, and Sheila is the only one who cannot see it coming. Deacon's moral dilemma. This brings up a crucial question that viewers will surely be asking. Does Deacon feel any guilt at all about what he is doing? Is he experiencing any remorse for the way he is playing with fire and gambling with multiple people's lives? And emotions, Deacon is essentially betraying his wife, manipulating his therapist, and putting everyone in danger of Sheila's wrath. The old Deacon might not have cared about such things, but has he changed at all over the years? Deacon appears to be caught between his desire for Taylor and any lingering sense of loyalty or obligation to Los Angeles. He knows that what he is doing is wrong on multiple levels, but he seems unable or unwilling to stop himself. Perhaps he has convinced himself that his marriage to Sheila was a mistake from the beginning, that he deserves to find real happiness with someone like Taylor. Or perhaps he is simply being selfish, pursuing what he wants without fully considering the consequences. The truth is that Deacon is playing a dangerous game with two women's feelings and with everyone's safety. Taylor has been honest with him about her concerns and her fears, but Deacon seems to brush them aside or minimize them. He tells himself that everything will work out, that they can manage this situation, that Sheila will never find out. But this kind of thinking is not only naive, but potentially deadly. The Sheila question. All of this drama and danger circles back to one fundamental question that has been on everyone's mind. How changed is Sheila really? She has claimed repeatedly that she is a new woman, that she has left her violent past behind, that she is committed to being a better person and living a lawful life. Sheila has done her best to prove this transformation, to show through her actions that she is sincere. But can a person like Sheila truly change? Can someone with her history of violence, obsession, and revenge ever really become a peaceful, rational individual? Or is this transformation merely a facade, a temporary state that will crumble a moment she faces real betrayal and heartbreak? Steffy clearly believes that the old Sheila is still lurking beneath the surface, waiting for the right trigger to emerge. If Sheila discovers that her husband has developed feelings for another woman, especially a woman like Taylor, will she react with understanding and maturity, or will she revert to her violent ways? This is the question that everyone should be asking, and the answer may determine whether Taylor survives this dangerous entanglement.